The Galactic Council chamber hummed with tension as Commander Marcus Drake stood alone before the semicircle of alien representatives. His dark skin glistened with sweat under the harsh lights, and his ceremonial diplomatic uniform felt suffocating. The past 72 hours had been a nightmare of emergency meetings and increasingly hostile accusations. High Chancellor Vex Thor of the Centaurian Collective rose from his crystalline seat, his bioluminescent tentacles pulsing with barely contained rage. The evidence cannot be disputed. A human vessel destroyed the sacred pillars of memory, a 10,000-year-old monument containing the complete historical records of 5 civilizations. Drake's fingers curled into fists at his sides. With all due respect, Chancellor, the colony ship Horizon suffered a catastrophic navigation failure. We've offered full reparations and— Silence. Ambassador Kyrazin of the Nephilim Concordat interrupted, her silver-feathered wings spreading wide. This council has heard enough human excuses. First, the mining accident in the protected zones. Then the weapons test that nearly triggered a war with the Arcturus Federation. Now this. Something about her tone made Drake's instincts flare. After 15 years in diplomatic service, he'd learned to read alien body language. The Nephilim ambassador was putting on a show, but her eyes betrayed something else: satisfaction. The motion has been proposed, rumbled Magistrate Dorn of the Silicon Mines, his robotic form casting angular shadows. Shall humanity be quarantined to their home system until further notice? One by one, the votes appeared on the massive holographic display. Drake's heart sank as each alien empire added their condemning mark. The decision was unanimous. Humanity is hereby restricted to the Sol system, Chancellor Vex Thor announced. All human ships must return home within 14 standard days. Any human vessel found outside these boundaries after the deadline will be considered hostile and dealt with accordingly. You can't do this, Drake protested. We have colonies depending on interstellar trade. Millions will die without essential supplies. You should have considered that before attacking our heritage, Ambassador Kyrazin said coldly. This session is adjourned. Drake watched helplessly as the chamber emptied, leaving him alone with his racing thoughts. Something wasn't right. The council never moved this quickly, never acted with such unity unless— His wrist communicator chimed with an encrypted message from his longtime friend and information broker, Zirakel, a retired Proximan spy whose species had chosen to remain neutral in galactic politics. Meet me in Sublevel 42, Maintenance Corridor C. Come alone. What I have to tell you changes everything. Drake glanced at the council chamber's security cameras and made his decision. Following orders and returning to Earth meant accepting defeat. If there was even a chance of uncovering the truth, he had to take it. The maintenance corridors were dimly lit and smelled of recycled air. Zira's slight form emerged from the shadows, her bioluminescent markings dimmed to near darkness. You're being set up, Marcus. The Horizon's navigation systems didn't fail, they were sabotaged. By whom? I traced the attack to a Nephilim source, but that's just the surface. Something bigger is happening. Key members of the council have been holding secret meetings for months. My sources say they're terrified of humanity's rapid expansion and technological progress. Drake's mind raced. The accidents, the mounting tensions, it was all orchestrated. Precisely. But here's what really matters. 3 days ago, a highly classified research vessel left Nephilim space carrying something designated Project Genesis. My contact died getting me this information, but not before mentioning one crucial detail. It's a weapon, Marcus. Designed specifically to target human DNA. Horror gripped Drake's chest. They're planning genocide. You need to warn Earth, but they're watching all official channels. There's a cargo ship leaving for the Outer Rim in 2 hours. The captain owes me a favor. If you go now. Commander Drake. A voice echoed through the corridor. Security Chief Raxon of the Council Guard appeared with a squad of armed officers. You're in a restricted area. Come with us immediately. Zira melted into the shadows as Drake raised his hands. Just lost my way, Chief. These lower levels all look the same. Indeed. Raxon's compound eyes narrowed. The Council has ordered all human diplomatic staff to begin immediate evacuation procedures. You'll be escorted to your quarters to pack. Drake nodded, mind already formulating plans. He couldn't leave, not now. Not when he finally understood the truth. Humanity needed him here, even if it meant becoming a fugitive in a hostile galaxy. His quarters felt smaller than ever as he gathered essential supplies in a small bag. The Council's betrayal burned in his chest, but something else burned brighter: determination. They thought humanity would accept exile quietly, retreat to Earth, and wither away until they were weak enough to be eliminated entirely. They were wrong. Drake accessed his secure terminal one last time, sending a heavily encrypted message to his most trusted contacts throughout the station. Some would ignore it, but others, those who had worked with humans long enough to know them as friends rather than rivals, might listen, might help. He would need allies for what came next. The galaxy had turned its back on humanity, but Marcus Drake refused to walk away. The real war was just beginning. As he shouldered his pack and prepared for his escape, Drake smiled grimly. The Council thought they had sentenced humanity to extinction. Instead, they had just created their worst nightmare, a humanity with nothing left to lose and everything to fight for. The Outer Rim trading post known as Haven's Edge was everything its name wasn't, a sprawling collection of interconnected asteroids where the dregs of galactic society gathered to conduct business best kept in shadows. Commander Marcus Drake pulled his worn cloak tighter as he made his way through the crowded marketplace, careful to keep his face hidden from the security cameras. 2 weeks had passed since his escape from the Council station. The cargo ship captain, true to Zira's word, had smuggled him out in a modified stasis pod. Now, with humanity's quarantine in full effect, Drake had to move carefully. Bounty hunters from a dozen species prowled these corridors, eager to claim the substantial reward for any human found outside Sol's boundaries. "You're late." The gravelly voice belonged to Crix, a massive Valerian whose gray-scaled hide bore the scars of countless battles. The mercenary's compound eye studied Drake as he slipped into the private booth of the Broken Airlock, Haven's Edge's most notorious bar. "Had to shake a tail," Drake replied. "Someone's been asking questions about a human matching my description." Crix chittered, a sound that might have been amusement. "Good thing you're meeting me, then. The Valerian Brotherhood hasn't forgotten how humanity helped us during the Plague years. Some debts run deeper than Council orders. I need your network, Crix. Something big is coming, and I can't fight it alone." The Valerian placed a data crystal on the table. "Already ahead of you, Commander. That's why I called this meeting. My people intercepted some interesting transmissions from that Nephilim research vessel you've been tracking. They're building something at these coordinates, a facility that officially doesn't exist." Drake's pulse quickened as he studied the holographic map. Deep in the Maelstrom Nebula. Smart. The radiation would mask any unusual energy signatures. "There's more." Crix leaned forward. "We're not the only ones who've noticed something's wrong. I've got contacts, other species who think this quarantine stinks worse than a Targanian swamp beast. They're willing to help, for various reasons." "I'm listening." "First, there's Dr. Nix, quantum physicist. She's Arcturian, but she's spent enough time with humans to know you're not the monsters the Council claims. She's been analyzing the wreckage of your colony ship, says the navigation failure was definitely sabotage." Drake nodded. "We need her." "Who else?" "Ren Voss. Ex-Council security, if you can believe it. Nephilim, but he resigned his post the day after the quarantine vote. Says he overheard something that shook him to his core. He's been doing his own digging since then. Can we trust him?" Crix's scales rippled. "Voss has already proven himself. He's the one who warned us about the assassination squad heading to Haven's Edge. Speaking of which, we should move. This location won't be secure much longer." They slipped out through the bar's maintenance tunnels, emerging in a different section of the asteroid. Crix led Drake to a nondescript warehouse, where 2 figures waited in the shadows. Dr. Nix stepped forward first, her crystalline form refracting the dim light. "Commander Drake, your species' mathematical innovations revolutionized my field. I won't stand by while the Council tries to erase humanity from the galaxy. Beside her, Ren Voss cut an imposing figure despite his obvious tension. The Nephilim's silver feathers were dulled with grime, his once pristine uniform replaced with practical combat gear. They're calling it Project Genesis, Commander. A weapon designed to rewrite the very building blocks of life. They plan to release it simultaneously across all human colonies.
How long do we have? 2 months maximum. They're rushing the final testing phase. The Council is terrified of humanity's potential. They've seen how quickly you advance, how adaptable you are. In the last century alone, you've achieved what took other species millennia. Drake's mind raced with possibilities. We need proof, something concrete enough to convince the neutral species to intervene, and we need a way to get that proof to Earth. I might be able to help with both, a new voice called from the shadows. Zira emerged looking more haggard than when Drake had last seen her on the Council station. Sorry I'm late, had to make sure I wasn't followed. The Council's hunting you too. They figured out who helped you escape, but their surveillance net has gaps, big ones if you know where to look. She produced a small device. This can bypass their communication blackout, get a message to Earth through the quantum entanglement network the Proximans built centuries ago. They never shut it down, just abandoned it. Drake looked around the warehouse at his unlikely allies, a Volarian warrior, an Arcturian scientist, a Nephilim defector, and a Proximan spy. Each had chosen to stand with humanity despite the cost, despite the danger. We're going to need more help, he said. Not just for gathering evidence, but for what comes after. The Council won't just admit they were wrong. They'll fight to keep this secret buried. Crix bared his teeth in what passed for a Volarian smile. Already on it, Commander. There's a growing network of dissidents and sympathizers, species who remember their own histories of being oppressed or feared by the majority. They're waiting for someone to light the spark. Then let's give them what they're waiting for. Drake activated a holographic display showing the Maelstrom Nebula facility. Dr. Nix, can you identify blind spots in their security from these scans? Ren will need details on their patrol patterns. Zira, start reaching out to your most trusted contacts. And Crix. The Volarian hefted his pulse rifle. Just point me at the enemy, Commander. For the first time since the quarantine began, Drake felt real hope. The Council had made a crucial mistake. In their fear of humanity's potential for growth and change, they had forgotten that humans were at their most dangerous when backed into a corner. They had meant to isolate humanity. Instead, they had given them allies who understood the true meaning of justice. The resistance was no longer just about saving humanity. It was about exposing the corruption at the heart of galactic civilization itself. As his new team began planning their first strike, Drake smiled grimly. The Council thought they had condemned humanity to a slow death in isolation. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. The Maelstrom Nebula lived up to its name, its swirling clouds of purple and crimson energy casting an eerie glow across the bridge of their stolen stealth vessel. Commander Drake watched as Dr. Nix made final adjustments to their radiation shielding, her crystalline fingers dancing across the holographic controls. The facility's defensive grid is synchronized to the nebula's energy patterns, she explained, her voice humming with tension. We'll have exactly 12 minutes when the next surge hits to slip through undetected. Ren Voss checked his weapons one last time, silver feathers bristling with nervous energy. Security rotation changes in 15 minutes. If we miss this window, we'll have to wait another 48 hours for the next opportunity. We won't get another chance, Crix growled from his position at the tactical station. Council ships are increasing patrols in this sector. They know we're getting close to something. Drake nodded, studying the facility's schematics that Zira's network had provided. The research station was built into a massive asteroid, its true size concealed by the nebula's interference. According to their intelligence, Project Genesis was housed in the central laboratories, protected by multiple security checkpoints. Remember, Drake addressed his team, we need more than just confirmation of the weapon. We need proof of who authorized it, who's funding it, and enough evidence to convince the neutral species to intervene. Dr. Nix, you and Ren will handle the data extraction. Crix, you're with me on security detail. Zira's monitoring communications from Haven's Edge. If anything goes wrong, we abort immediately. No heroics. The nebula surge hit right on schedule, washing their sensors with interference. Nix guided their ship through the chaos with precision, using the energy disruption to mask their approach. They docked at an emergency airlock that Wren had identified as a blind spot in the security grid. The facility's corridors were eerily silent as they made their way deeper into the complex. Wren's inside knowledge proved invaluable, helping them avoid patrol routes and security cameras. But something felt off to Drake. The security seemed too light for a project of this magnitude. They reached the main laboratory complex without incident. As Nix worked to bypass the door controls, Drake's unease grew. "This is too easy," he whispered to Crix. The Volarian nodded, his combat instincts equally alert. The laboratory doors slid open to reveal a vast chamber filled with sophisticated equipment. Massive tanks lined the walls, containing swirling liquids of various colors. Holographic displays showed complex molecular structures rotating in the air. "By the ancient stars," Nix breathed as she began accessing the main computer terminal. "This is far worse than we imagined. They're not just targeting human DNA, they're trying to rewrite the fundamental rules of genetic expression." "What does that mean?" Drake asked, keeping watch at the door with Crix. "The weapon wouldn't just kill humans. It would prevent human DNA from ever forming again in this galaxy. They're trying to make it impossible for humanity to evolve again, even over billions of years." A slow clap echoed through the chamber. "Brilliant deduction, Dr. Nix." Ambassador Kyrazin stepped out from behind a row of equipment, flanked by heavily armed guards. "Though I'm disappointed it took you this long to find us." Drake's blood ran cold as he realized the truth. "You wanted us to find this place." "Of course." The Nephilim ambassador's wings spread wide in a gesture of mock welcome. "How else could we demonstrate the futility of resistance? Your species' determination is admirable, Commander Drake. It's precisely why you must be eliminated. Humanity simply refuses to accept its proper place in the galaxy." "And what place is that?" Drake demanded, buying time as he noticed Crix slowly shifting position. "Below us, contained, controlled." Kyrazin gestured at the laboratory. "Look at what you've accomplished in mere centuries. Your rate of advancement terrifies the other species. They see how quickly you solve problems that took them millennia to unravel. They watch your colonies expand, your technology evolve, your influence grow. You're a disease that must be contained before you infect the entire galaxy with your chaos." "You're wrong," Drake said firmly. "We're not a disease, we're a catalyst. Every species we've encountered has advanced faster through cooperation with us. We challenge stagnation, force evolution, create change." "Exactly," Kyrazin's eyes blazed. "And that's precisely why you must be destroyed. The galaxy operates on order, on careful balance maintained over eons. Your species is a random element that threatens everything we've built." "You mean everything you've controlled," Nix interjected, her crystalline form pulsing with anger. "I've finished analyzing your data. This isn't about protecting the galaxy. This is about maintaining power. The Council species are afraid of losing their dominance." A new alarm suddenly blared through the facility. Kyrazin's expression shifted from confidence to concern as one of her guards received an urgent communication. "What do you mean the other facilities are under attack?" Drake smiled. "Did you really think we'd put all our hopes on one mission? While you were watching us, Zira's network was targeting your other research stations. Right now, proof of your conspiracy is being broadcast to every neutral species in the galaxy." Chaos erupted in the laboratory. Crix moved with lightning speed, his massive form knocking down 3 guards before they could react. Wren revealed his true colors, turning his weapon on his former Nephilim colleagues. Dr. Nix used her crystalline form to refract the guards' energy weapons, creating a dazzling display that left them disoriented. Drake faced Kyrazin, who had drawn her ceremonial blade. "Your species never learns," she hissed, "always fighting even when defeat is certain." "That's where you're wrong," Drake replied, activating the quantum transmitter he'd been carrying. "We never fight alone, and we're never defeated until we choose to give up." The laboratory's screens suddenly lit up with transmission signals from across the galaxy. The neutral species had received their evidence. The Council's deception was exposed, and humanity's allies were rallying to their cause. The real war was about to. The next 48 hours transformed the galaxy. From the glittering spires of the Arcturian homeworld to the crystalline caves of the Silicon mines, the evidence of the Council's conspiracy spread like wildfire. Commander Drake watched from the Bridge of the Liberation, a retrofitted Volarian warship that had become the Resistance's mobile headquarters. "Another 3 systems have denounced the Council's actions," Zira reported, her bioluminescent markings pulsing with excitement. The Quantum Collective, the Starborn Alliance, and the Meridian Confederation are all demanding an emergency session of the full Galactic Assembly. The Council won't give up easily, Ren warned, his silver feathers now bearing the red stripe of the Resistance. They're already spinning the story, claiming the evidence was fabricated by human sympathizers. Drake studied the tactical display showing movement of Council warships throughout the galaxy. They were consolidating their forces, preparing for what would likely be the largest military mobilization since the ancient wars. How's our communication link with Earth holding up? Dr. Nix emerged from her makeshift laboratory, her crystalline form dimmed from exhaustion. The quantum network is stable. Earth's military command has received all our intelligence. They're preparing defensive positions, but more importantly, they're mobilizing the deep space fleet. Which they claimed they didn't have, Crix added with a rumbling laugh. Typical humans, always keeping an ace hidden. The mood on the bridge sobered as a priority alert flashed across their screens. The Council had finally made their move, a galaxy-wide broadcast from High Chancellor Vexter himself. The Centaurian's tentacles writhed with barely contained rage as his image filled their viewport. Citizens of the galactic community, do not be deceived by these terrorist actions. The human quarantine was implemented for the safety of all species. Their recent attacks on research facilities prove their violent nature. Even now, they conspire with outlaws and traitors to destabilize the peace we have maintained for millennia. Peace through suppression, Drake muttered. He turned to his team. Time for our countermove, Dr. Nix. The Arcturian scientist activated a complex array of equipment. Broadcasting now, Commander. Every frequency, every platform they're using, were piggybacking their own signal. Drake faced the camera, his expression resolute. People of the galaxy, I am Commander Marcus Drake. The Council would have you believe that humanity is a threat to peace. The truth is simpler, we are a threat to their control. The evidence we've revealed shows their plan to commit genocide not just against humans, but against the very possibility of our existence. He gestured to his diverse crew. Look around you. I stand with a Volarian warrior, an Arcturian scientist, a Nephilim defector, and a Proximan intelligence officer. Each of them chose to stand against injustice. Each recognized that the Council's fear of change, of evolution, of difference, threatens not just humanity but the future of all species. The ship shuddered as distant explosions lit up space. Council warships had found them, but Crix's piloting skills kept them just ahead of the assault. Drake continued his broadcast, unfazed. To those who believe in justice, in progress, in the power of cooperation over control, now is the time to stand. The Council claims humanity must be contained because we advance too quickly, think too differently, change too much. They're right about one thing: we do bring change, we challenge stagnation, we question authority, we inspire innovation. Another blast rocked the ship. Shields at 60%, Ren reported calmly. But we also build bridges, Drake pressed on. We forge alliances, we celebrate differences. Every species that has worked with humanity has advanced faster, grown stronger, reached higher. We don't want to rule the galaxy, we want to explore it, learn from it, grow with it. The tactical display suddenly erupted with new signatures. Ships were dropping out of faster-than-light travel all around them, but they weren't Council vessels. By the ancient stars, Zira breathed. Those are Quantum Collective warships and Meridian battle cruisers, and is that the entire Starborn defense fleet? A new voice cut across their communications. Commander Drake, this is Admiral Vex of the Combined Free Species Fleet. Your message was received. We stand with humanity against tyranny. The Council's reign of control ends today. Cheers erupted across the Liberation's bridge, but Drake knew this was just the beginning. The Council had ruled for millennia, they wouldn't surrender power easily. The coming battle would reshape the galaxy for better or worse. All ships battle formations, he ordered, falling easily into the role of fleet commander. The Council will target Earth first. They'll try to eliminate humanity before more allies can join us. We need to hold them back long enough for the deep space fleet to mobilize. As ships moved into position around them, Drake felt a fierce pride in what they'd accomplished. The Council had tried to isolate humanity, to turn the galaxy against them. Instead, they had united the galaxy's free peoples in a way never before seen. One more transmission, he told Nix, to Earth. When the channel opened, his message was simple. The light of justice shines in the darkness. Hold fast, we're coming home. The Liberation surged forward, leading a fleet of allies toward Earth, toward destiny, toward a new dawn for all species. The true war for the galaxy's soul was about to begin. Earth's orbital space had become a battlefield unlike any in galactic history. The combined free species fleet, led by the Liberation, faced off against the massed forces of the Council. Thousands of ships filled the void, their energy weapons painting space with brilliant colors that rivaled the aurora borealis visible on the planet below. Commander Drake stood at the Liberation's command center, coordinating with Admiral Vex and Earth's newly revealed Deep Space Fleet. The Council had committed everything to this final battle, desperate to maintain their power by destroying humanity's homeworld. "Status report," Drake called out as another volley of fire rocked their shields. "Council forces are pressing hard on the northern quadrant," Crix reported from Tactical. "They're trying to punch through to reach the Genesis weapon launchers." Dr. Nix's crystalline form pulsed with urgency. If even one of those bioweapons reaches Earth's atmosphere, the results would be catastrophic. The genetic cascade would spread across the entire planet within hours. "They won't get through," Ren declared, coordinating the Nephilim defector ships that had joined their cause. "But we've got another problem. Look at these energy readings from the Council flagship." The tactical display showed an enormous power buildup. Drake's eyes widened as he recognized the pattern. "They're powering up a planetary decimator. They'd rather destroy Earth completely than risk losing control of the galaxy." "Incoming transmission," Zira announced. "It's High Chancellor Vexler." The Centaurian's image appeared, his tentacles writhing with malevolent purpose. "This is your final warning, traitors. Withdraw your forces and submit to Council authority, or watch as we reduce humanity's cradle to cosmic dust." Drake met the Chancellor's gaze steadily. "You still don't understand, do you? This isn't just about humanity anymore. Look around you. Every free species in the galaxy has united against your tyranny. Your fear of change, your need for control, it ends today." "Then you choose extinction," Vexler raged. "All ships commence final." The transmission cut off as a new wave of ships dropped out of FTL travel directly behind the Council fleet. The Liberation's bridge erupted in cheers as they recognized the signatures. "The Promethean Collective," Zira breathed in awe. "They've emerged from their isolation, and those can't be the ancient guardians themselves." For millennia, the most advanced species in the galaxy had remained neutral, observing from their hidden enclaves. Now they had chosen to act. A new voice, ancient and powerful, resonated through all ships' communications. "We have watched and waited, testing whether the younger races could overcome their fears and unite in common cause. Humanity's resistance and the alliance they have built has proven that the galaxy is ready for the next stage of evolution." The ancient Guardian ships, massive crystalline structures that dwarfed even the largest Council vessels, moved into position around Earth. Beams of pure energy lanced out not to destroy but to create. A shield of iridescent light enveloped the planet, neutralizing the Genesis weapons and protecting against the planetary decimator. "Chancellor Vexler," Drake called out, "power down your weapons. The Council's authority is finished. A new age is beginning, one of cooperation, not control. Surrender and be part of that future." For a long moment the battlefield hung in silence. Then, one by one, Council ships began powering down their weapons. The Chancellor's flagship held out until the last, but finally its energy signature dropped to neutral. The war was over. In the days that followed, representatives from all species gathered on Earth, the first time many had set foot on humanity's homeworld. In the same United Nations chamber where humanity had once dreamed of joining the galactic community, a new compact was forged. Drake stood with his diverse crew, Crix, Dr. Nix, Ren, and Zira, as the new galactic alliance was formed. The old council was disbanded, replaced by a democratic federation where all species, regardless of their age or technological level, would have an equal voice. The galaxy needed a catalyst for change, Dr. Nix observed as they watched the proceedings. That was humanity's true role, not to conquer or dominate, but to inspire, to challenge, to unite. "And to make some unlikely friends along the way," Crix added, clapping Drake on the shoulder with enough force to stagger him. Drake looked at his team, his family, and smiled. They had faced extinction and emerged stronger. The galaxy had tried to isolate humanity and instead discovered that the human spirit of cooperation, innovation, and determination could not be contained. As the first dawn of the new era broke over Earth, its light seemed brighter somehow, full of promise. The galaxy had changed forever, and the adventure was just beginning. "So," Zira asked with a knowing smile, "what impossible challenge should we tackle next?" Drake laughed. First, I need a drink. Then, well, there's a whole universe out there waiting to be explored. And this time we'll do it together. The sun rose on a galaxy united not by fear or control, but by hope, courage, and the unshakable belief that different species working together could achieve anything. Humanity had refused to walk away when the galaxy turned its back, and in doing so had helped forge a future brighter than anyone had imagined possible. It was truly a new dawn for all.